You may not recognize our next guest's face, but chances are you've heard his voice on TV shows, video games, commercials, and on the radio.
And here to discuss his role on the CW's new show, Jane the Virgin, is voiceover actor Anthony Mendez. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for inviting me.
So you're no virgin to voiceover work, are you?
No, I'm not. Boom.
She's here all weekend, don't worry.
I'm so sorry. I had to do it.
Please.
All right. So how'd you get into that line of business?
I wanted to be in the music business.
Okay.
So I started a recording studio in Jersey City, recording before reggaeton became big. I used to record the artists' demos. That led to weird hours, getting home at 4 or 5 in the morning. So I said, I got to do something else. So I started producing radio commercials during the day, better hours. You know, my wife actually saw me now, and I actually made money because the music business, you know, money may or may not come.
Yeah, it's very volatile.
Yeah. So the guy who used to do the voices took a vacation. Anthony, why don't you do it? And I fell in love with voiceover ever since.
I've been doing it ever since. Wow. But your family's actually in the tombstone business, and your brothers took over your mom and dad's business.
Yes.
So why did you get out of it, and how did you transition from the cemetery to the sound booth?
I always say I'm going to write a book one day called Headstones to Microphones.
Oh, I like that.
Nobody can really make that connection, which, you know, I can't expect them to.
Yeah, so connect those dots for us.
Well, my dad came from the Dominican Republic, and like many immigrants, got a job in a factory. It just happened to be manufacturing headstones, monuments, and mausoleums. Eventually, he learned the trade and started his own business. So that kind of supported the family, put us through college. But eventually, I always had that artist inside of me, and I wanted to do something creative. So I branched out and went into music, and that's how I landed into voiceovers.
So have you had this voice since you were a child? Like, what did you sound like as a 10-year-old, 11-year-old?
It's a good question.
You're like, hey, let's go out and play kickball.
I think I did, because I remember specifically in high school, you know, at that age, you're not thinking you have a nice or a certain type of voice. So I remember a lot of the girls in our class, whenever it was my turn to read, they said, can you do it again? And I was, at that time, you know, I was a little, why would he want me to do it again? So I started to get a hint only after high school that there was something maybe unique about my voice,
And did you use it to woo the ladies in your single days?
I don't know. I think I tried, but it took me 8 years to win over my wife, so it can't be, so obviously it's not the voice alone.
A lot of long nights, sweet talking on the phone?
Yeah, it didn't work, man. All it did was increase my cell phone bill.
Right.
That's it.
Okay, let's talk about Jane the Virgin. This show is getting tons of buzz. It's about a girl who's artificially inseminated, unbeknownst to her.
Accidentally.
Yeah, accidentally, exactly. And you play the narrator of the show. Explain more.
Jane is a driven young lady who's studying to be a teacher, but her dream is really to write, to be a writer.
Okay.
In the meantime, to make ends meet, she works at a Miami hotel. So her grandmother had made her promise that she would save herself for marriage. But unfortunately, somehow, some way, in a doctor's visit, she accidentally gets artificially inseminated. It sounds far out, right? But somehow, the executive producer, Jenny Snyder-Urman, and the writers have grounded it in reality. So when I got the audition to be a narrator, I knew from the script, well, at first, the reality was, I said, because it says Latin lover narrator on it. And I said, what the heck, do they want me to do that? You know, sometimes when I get things that may be stereotypical, I kind of, not another one type of thing.
I understand.
So I ended up reading the sides, and I said, this is really brilliant. It makes sense. It's an ode to telenovelas.
So how do you sound like a Latin lover?
It is a little difficult to explain. I guess I would have to do it for you. It is a combination of pillow talk, along with an accent that is Hispanic, but not of a particular region, because I've been in this country long enough to understand the idioms. You know, something like that.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
So when you go in for the auditions, how does it work? Do you like pick it? She's like, oh, just let him talk. She's like, don't talk, just let him talk. Lola, let me ask this question this way, okay? Is it better?
Not bad.
Well, now, what did you say?
Oh, good. She's like, tell her more.
Oh, thank you.
So what is the audition like when you go in? Do you have a voice set out? Do they say, try this voice, try that voice?
It's the audition for this particular show. I kind of knew exactly what they were going for. Although it said a telenovela announcer, there's two different kinds of telenovela announcers, right? In one sense, it's what I call, no offense to any Spanish announcers out there, is what I call the Dracula read. You know, they talk like this, Telemundo, este viernes. You know?
I heard that on Telemundo.
So that's, So I said, maybe I should do that because that's a telenovela announcer, right? But an hour of that dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like the game show guy.
Yeah. So you're like, that's enough already.
Or the soccer guys.
Oh, the
like,
soccer.
"Go!"
Yes.
Yeah.
So they all have this, like, what some of my voiceover coaches call a pukey kind of read.
Ooh,
you
okay.
know, it's
That's
almost
not good.
That's not good. Nobody
Okay.
wants that. They want like real life, real actors
Gotcha.
with all its imperfections that comes along.
Gotcha,
So you're not worried as much about the voice like those guys are. So the telenovela announcer that I chose was more in keeping with a Latin lover kind of smooth talker. However, anybody can do a voice. So I kind of took the approach of knowing that Jane hadn't met her father. And if I can put some sort of subtext to it, which was my choice was to make sure that I was almost a removed fatherly figure looking after her. And I think that might have connected with the producers and the casting. Yeah.
Do you ever want to be the voice and the face?
No.
No. Really?
I don't, for one major reason. I don't want to say I'm lazy, but I like being home.
I understand that.
And 99% of my work I do and record from home. The TV show is done from one of our bedrooms.
No.
Yeah,
Are
yeah.
you serious?
Just on the phone talking?
Well, I have my studio set up.
Gig like that?
It only takes about 5 years of starving and another 3 years. Yeah.
Welcome to Arise 360.
You can do. I know a couple of radio guys that had morning talk shows, and they moved, and they were so popular that they let them ISDN in, which is like a digital line connection.
Wow.
Yeah, so I get to do that myself. I have an ISDN box, I have a phone patch, I have an FTP, record everything and upload it. And my kids, you know, I get to pick them up. It's a blessing, really.
Yeah,
it really
that's
is.
awesome.
Mr. Mendez, can you take us to break? Can you say you're
Tell
watching?
us when it airs.
Yes, and then take us to break.
This is Arise Entertainment 360.
Now give it to us in that your sexy
Yeah.
voice.
And you have to tell us when Jane the Virgin airs as well.
Oh,
You
okay.
take us to break.
This is Arise Entertainment 360. Jane the Virgin airs on the CW at 9/8 Central.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And we'll be
Thank
right
you.
back with more Arise Entertainment 360.